going on, guys? It's your boy Joshua Bogies and Bullshit, episode number 4, State of the Union. First off, let's just say that this is not political in any way. This is just more of a public service announcement in light of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And I just wanted to put it out there what I believe is going on with this nation right now. I'm not affiliated with any political organizations. I'm not affiliated with politics whatsoever. But like I stated from the beginning, this channel is going to be about love, life, relationships, marriage, custody, co-parenting, work, everything that, people have to deal with on an everyday. I'm going to put that platform so that we can discuss it and just talk about things that are going on. And, with current events going on in this day and age, it's just crazy. It's a shame. Charlie Kirk was 31 years old, father, husband, son, brother, friend. He was going out there, going from different colleges and, sparking debate between, different people's views. And he was just going out and sharing his views. And, it's a shame that he was so young and he was assassinated in silence for speaking his mind and speaking exactly about his opinion and how he felt and expressing himself. And I think that it's actually disgusting. You got people out here that are like cheering it on and they're like happy about it. And they're, applauding murder. Like, this was murder. He was a young man that was murdered for speaking his truth, and that was his truth. And if you don't agree with it, that's fine. Not everybody has to agree. We're not robots. This is America. You don't have to agree on everything, because if we did agree on everything, there'd be a problem. We'd be robots. And this is America. This is not a communist country where if you don't agree with what the government thinks or what everybody thinks, then you get killed. That's out of control. Like, that's not what it's meant to be. This is America. Constitutional right, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of religion. Like, these are things that are so important, and for us to have these rights. And I feel like, what just happened was some sort of fear mongering, because now it's going to silence people and it's going to keep people fearful to go out and express how they feel and what they think. And that shouldn't be the case whatsoever. Everyone should be free to express exactly how they feel and say what they mean and say how they feel. And as long as you're not pushing those ideologies on anybody else, then that's the only thing that should matter. And, at the end of the day, when people are being silenced for speaking their mind, that's when we have failed as a country. And it makes us look very, very weak as a people, because, our enemies are out there looking at us and they're saying, like, look how weak these people are. Look how weak these Americans are. They're deteriorating and they're imploding from the inside. We don't even have to strike. They're so weak themselves, and we're just going to wait until they're so weak that they can no longer defend themselves, and then that's when they're going to strike. So we should be embarrassed as Americans. We should be embarrassed that this is going on in our country. And, this is not the America that I know. The America I know, we were united, when, we would have our differences, we would spark debates. But at the end of the day, if something tragic happened, we would get together and we would be one. United we stand, divided we fall, and that's how we was. And now people are like cheering on someone getting killed for speaking their mind, and it's just crazy to me, because, like I said, I'm not siding with one political party or the other. But if this was to happen on the other side, I can almost guarantee that there would be chaos in the streets. There'd be rioting, looting, protests. People would be losing their minds, and it's sad, because, this goes back to, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. They were speaking their truth. They're expressing themselves and what they believe. And you could say, how dare you compare Charlie Kirk to MLK and Malcolm X? And, they're civil rights activists and blah, blah, blah. And you can agree or disagree. But at the end of the day, someone was killed for speaking their mind. And that's what it goes down to. And now we got these conspiracies going on, and they're saying, oh, well, it was a setup. This guy's a patsy and all this stuff. And the guy next to him actually shot him underneath his shoulder, underneath his elbow. And let me tell you, I have extensive firearm training, and my background includes firearms. And that was not a shot taken by a pistol from 5 feet away. That was a long gun shot, long range shot. And, they're saying that they have the right man in custody, and let's just see if the wheels of justice will turn and do the right thing. And at the end of the day, that's all that we can do. But let's try to remain calm, not go crazy out there and put even more division amongst us. I'm a strong believer in the First Amendment. You speak how you feel. Freedom of speech is huge. And the only thing that I care about as a father, as a parent, is that your ideologies aren't pushed onto my children in school, and these indoctrination is not done to my children. At the end of the day, I agree with Charlie Kirk when he said that kindergarten to 12th grade are the most important years of a child's educational development, and I truly believe that education and schooling should be strictly about math, science, English, history, and now especially that technology is very prevalent in our culture and our society, that computer science and technology, teach our kids how to make platforms, websites, the content, teach them economics, business management, and like teach them skills where they can go off to run a business, start a business, own a business, and or build a website, e-commerce. Like these are career paths that are making a lot of money. So these skills should be passed on to our children. I think that whatever a teacher believes, that's up to them. They shouldn't be passing it on to our children. Let their parents teach them the ways, or let them, be able to learn their ways themselves. But nobody should be pushing on their ideologies on anybody else. And if you don't like what someone has to say, then don't listen. Don't listen. Charlie Kirk was assassinated because someone didn't like what he had to say. But that's fine. If you don't agree, just swipe. That's how easy it is in this day and age. Just swipe up, change the channel. Don't listen. You know, at the end of the day, that's all you have to do. We don't kill people because we don't like what they had to say. That's just disgusting. And that's not who we are as American people. And I know as American people, we're not the type of people that cheer on the death of another American citizen. That's disgusting. And like I said, we're just showing weakness. We're just showing weakness to the enemies on the outside, that we're just crumbling from within. And, whatever, he might have said, whether you agree or disagree, that's on you. But let's not take it there. We don't need people to be silenced for the way that they feel or what they're saying, because that is not the American way. And I just hope that, anybody that's going forward doesn't feel that fear of where they can't express themselves, because that's the most important thing that we have. We have the power to speak our minds and express ourselves. And like I said, as long as it's not being pushed on my children in school, whether it come to religion, politics, sexual orientation, I don't agree with the indoctrination of children. Let's just keep school strictly school education purposes, and let's not, veer from that path. At the end of the day, what it comes down to is a man was killed, a young man who is a father, who has children, he has a wife, he has a family, and now they're going to mourn the loss of this man. For what? Because someone didn't agree with what he had to say? That's crazy. That's silly. That's not what we're about. So, you know, I wanted to bring this up because, it's important. People do have different views. And especially if you're in a relationship, you have to make sure that, you align yourself with a partner that has the same views as you, because that could cause a lot of, division within a marriage and a relationship. And you got to teach your kids the right way. And that's a conversation that you have to have with your partner about, like, how we raising this kid when it comes to, the political view, our political views, our religious views, or what we feel about society and gender identity and stuff like that. Like, that's something you have to agree upon, because I truly believe that the politics and the religion can really divide people, and we're living in a world where that's happening right now. And I think that it's so unnecessary. There's so many other things out there. Like, it is so hard to live right now. Things are expensive. People are, having a difficult time making ends meet. And we're just trying to survive out here. We should not be fighting over politics or what my views are. Charlie's beliefs were his beliefs. He believed in marriage. He believed in life. He believed in love, and he believed in Christ. And those were his views. And he gave a platform for people to debate him, where, he would either agree or disagree. And that was it. And to bring it to violence is just out of control, guys. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. We need to unite as one. We need to unite as a people, and we need to get it together, America. What are we doing out here? Let's get it together. So we'll keep this short. Episode 4, the State of the Union. I think the State of the Union is in a very bad place right now. But you know what? Maybe there's still a chance for us to get our acts together. Be safe out there. Don't do anything stupid. And let's burn the ships, baby. Have a good one.